If I was starting all over today at zero and I own no real estate, here's what the first type of property I will buy and how I'll finance it. Because this is the most common question someone asks me all the time. Thach, if you're starting over today, how would you start investing in real estate? And today, you're gonna find out exactly how I'll do it step by step. It doesn't matter where it is I live, this same exact step will happen anywhere in the United States. All right, here's the first thing. The first thing is I gotta ask myself, where do I wanna buy? In any market, I need to know where is the A neighborhood, the B, the C, and the D. The A is a really high-end neighborhood. I'm not gonna buy there because it's not gonna make no sense. It's too expensive for a first-time investor or a buyer. D, which is the opposite end, which is the really rough neighborhood. I don't want to be in there. If I'm gonna buy anything to actually fix and flip or actually keep as my own primary to live in or as a rental property, I want to stay right in that B and the C area where it's basically it's the average where everybody live. At the high end, not the really cheap end, right in the middle. That's the first thing I would do. Then I will actually go out there and find me a single family home, just like this. See this house? It needs a little bit of work. I don't need to buy it perfect. Matter of fact, if it needs a little bit of work, I don't care. It helped me get the price lower. I will buy a home that needs some work, and I make sure that the lot's big enough, just like this. See that garage? It sits on the back of the property, where this is one lot. And the reason why is because if I ever want to tear this garage down, I can put an additional dwelling unit right here, ADU. Now, I don't care where you live in the United States, ADU is in your town now, okay? So you don't have to build it right away. But if I was starting over, I would buy myself a home that needs some work. Ideally, keep the price down with a big yard, and so I can actually develop this out and put more unit on it later. This is what I will buy, one thing right here. And then I'll show you what else I will buy also as a single family home. If I don't buy a single family, here's the next thing I will buy if I was starting out. Here's the second option I will buy if I don't buy a single family home. I'll buy myself a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex like this that I own, okay? The reason why fourplex and less, they can still consider a single family, not commercial. So what you do is, you buy, let's say a fourplex. You live in one, you rent the other three out. The other three, depending on the rent, it could actually help you live in your unit in this building, for little rent or almost no rent at all. You don't have to pay any of the mortgage because the other unit is paying for it. One of our students from Houston, they bought a duplex. They rent out one side, they live in the other side. The side they live in, right, they pay less than like $800. And if there was a rent that on the open market, it would have cost them probably around $2,000. So they lived there for a little less than half versus if they would just go out there and purely rent. So I would buy single family, duplex, triplex, fourplex. Now, condition wise, you can buy a fourplex, triplex, duplex that need a little bit of work. If you do that, you can actually get the price lower. And you can buy this, you can rehab it, you can spike the value. And by spiking the value, you can create sweat equity. You create sweat equity, right? You could actually have some extra cash in your pocket or equity in your property. But at the same time, right, you can actually live here for little to nothing because the rent, when you get done with it, it's gonna be high because it's a brand new building after you remodel it. So I would buy me a cosmetic fixer multi-unit or a cosmetic fixer single family. Single family, I gotta make sure I got a yard in the back. Also, a duplex or fourplex, if you can find it, you wanna find something with a backyard also so you can add more unit. And I'm gonna show you what I mean by that here soon. If you wanna learn how to buy your first rental property or your next rental property and be the one in your family, let me teach you how to do that. I have a mentorship program called Springboard to Wealth, and I teach people all across America how to buy their first rental or their next rental property. Hit the link in the description, come join me. I wanna show you the back of the fourplex. When I bought that fourplex, it had a backyard. And then after I bought it, I rented it out for a while, and then eventually I ended up building 6 more units in the back. And this is what I mean by buying a single family or multi-family with a backyard. So in the future, when you're ever ready, you can always add more value to the backyard. Now, instead of a 6 unit, this has become a 10 unit property now. Okay, so now you know where to buy and what to buy. Let me just give you 2 basic, simple strategy on how you can actually buy and scale, okay? All right, I don't care if this is a single family home or a multi-unit. If you are a first-time buyer, what you want to do, single family or multifamily, you can put down as little as 3.5% down on the property. If you do that on a single family, you live in it. Hopefully, you actually can get a house, right, where you have at least 3 bedrooms, you can rent out the bedroom, make some money, or you have a house with a basement, you can rent out the basement and you live upstairs to help offset the mortgage. In the meanwhile, you can save more money, okay? Or when you do a multifamily like this, you can put down 3.5% down, you can live in 1 unit, you can rent the other 3 units out. That way, again, it keeps your mortgage low, right? Save some money so you can actually repeat the process. Now, you have to wait for 1 year until you can actually turn that house or turn one of your units into a rental property, and then you go repeat the process and you do it again with 3.5% down, okay? That's one strategy. I'm gonna give you a little more advanced strategy, okay? Let's say you buy a fixer house with that big lot I just mentioned. You buy as a fixer. There's a program out there, you put 5% down conventional rehab loan. You buy the property as a fixer, figure what it costs to rehab it, put 5% of the purchase and the rehab together, 5% of that. You rehab the property, you spike the value, you create equity. Idea, you want to get at least 20 to 25% gross margin or profit, okay? And it'll happen when you get done rehabbing it, you refinance that into permanent financing, put some cash, put it in your pocket, okay? You live there, you rent out the rooms or the basement. You can do the same thing with multifamily, okay? You live there for a year. The money that you made from creating the extra equity, you can use that property. You can buy yourself another set right away, a fixer-upper with the down payment money, but you have to put 20% this time. Hopefully, you create enough equity out of the BRRRR strategy I just talked about the first property. Take that equity, put 20% down on the next single-family fixer or multi-family fixer. You create that value again, and you get enough sweat equity in that property. When you refinance to permanent financing, the bank says you have enough equity in it from you created it, the down payment you put down 20%, you can actually refi and get that money back in your pocket. And you can use that money right there to keep buying more property. But then the property you live in, every year you just trade up with 3.5% down. And the other money you can actually scale it. So you can do both track at the same time, or you can do 5% once a year, or you can do a BRRRR, live in one, get the equity out, right? And as you live in here, you can do another project. And then when this year come around, you do that again on the primary where you live in, then the money you make, you do this. These are the 2 strategies I would do if I was starting over today, buying the certain type of property in a certain area so I can actually start and start scaling. All right, everybody, that's a wrap for this video. Now you have a real good idea on how my brain thinks. If I was starting over today, how would I actually start investing and start scaling with very little money? And this is how I would do it. I hope you guys learned a lot from this video. Take that and then start doing it yourself, all right? Now, if you have not subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button for me. Tell all your friends about the video, all right? If there's any other topic we want to talk about, put it in the description. Until then, we'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.